Well, good evening, and welcome to this edition of the Island Stats Football Show. I'm your host, Earl Basden. Joining me is co-host Garrett Punchy Dill. We are awaiting Coach Keita Robinson, as well as our guests later on in the show will be the North Village Rams head coach, Kenny Thompson. But Punchy, we've had some interesting matchups this weekend. We'll start off with the Dudley Eve final, where the North Village Rams were crowned the champions following a 1-0 victory over the Devonshire Cougars up at Somerset Cricket Club. And then in the Premier Division today, it was Dendytown Hornets 5, St. George's Colts 0. Up at the Somerset Cricket Club, it was Somerset Trojans 1, Paget Lions 2. On Thursday night at the BAA Field, it was Robin Hood 3, Vasco 0, and that was in the First Division. And then today at the Somerset Cricket Club, it was Somerset Eagles 2, Wolves 2. We do have a host of matches that will take place tomorrow. That includes the Premier Division match between Crossroads and Hamilton Parish. That will be at Lords and St. David's at 3 p.m. At the BAA Field, it will see a First Division clash, a top of the table clash between Robin Hood and Devonshire Colts, as well as Boulevard and St. David's taking to the field tomorrow as well. But Punchy, we know we're going to be joined by Kenny later on in the show, but North Village, they picked up their second trophy of the season. Must be feeling good about themselves at the club right now. Undefeated in the league, and just doing what they have to do to get over the challenges.
Yeah, bro, you put that right. Yeah, they have challenges because last night I was to the game and you will see they had like 5 changes. Some players are away, some players are injured, but the ones that came in and played, they did really good, really good. And those kind of games, the cup game last night that I know that you just got to dig in. There wasn't much between the two teams. But I just thought North Village prevailed in terms of their work rate. They worked and missing so many key players. And I mean, Kenny had to make some of those changes. But the ones that stood out, the ones that did stay, the ones that were in the team that have been playing regular, I just saw a tremendous team effort last night. Sometimes it wasn't pretty, but even when the goal was scored, they dug in, and I think that shows true what's going on in North Village in terms of you lose 3 or 4 or 5 players, and then the others come in and they do their job, and that's what I witnessed last night.
Yeah, I've been one of those that's been saying this for a number of years. I remember back when North Village was struggling before when Kenny got there. The problem that North Village had was they didn't have a regular goalkeeper. And you have all the skillful players on the field that you want. If you don't have somebody that people have faith in goal, I'm not saying they don't trust the other guys who stand in, like when Pierre was in goal, like when Aaron Frey played in goal, like when others played in goal, they weren't goalkeepers, they were stand-ins, they were fill-ins. And yeah, sometimes they managed to get a victory, but other times it really, really hurt them. But I mean, previous to them winning the league, the last year, or being successful in the last few years, was they had Taj Bao in goal, and
Right.
then you saw a little dip when he left, and now they've got D-Trey Bao in goal, and all of a sudden confidence in a team. Now you feel like you've got a whole unit. And that's what's really, really helped North Village over the last few years, having D-Trey there, having the solid players that they do have, especially the back 4, and then those creative players up front.
Good point, Daryl. You hit that the nail right on the head. The Detroit's added so much. Having a good goalkeeper is paramount. And then what I also got to add to the fact that at the back, there's seniority at the back, and when we do input the young guy that played last night at the right fullback, I forget his name, but the thing about it is the seniority in key positions remain, and I think that's also a plus for North Village. I think it's going back to, I think I might have mentioned this a couple of weeks, going back to the what our tradition was, nurturing young players, but having security at the back so that the flourishing of young players can play up who really, if you look at it, this young man, Dion Wainwright that was speaking about, you know, the center forward, and then the young midfielder, the 16 years old.
Right.
And then, you know, so I think that's added, but I think it's paramount to have a very good goalkeeper, and he's a captain too.
Yeah,
he plays calm at times. Last night, Cougars were getting the better of North Village, especially in the second half. More possession, getting out wide, but the organization at the back, the seniority really has been paramount. I'm sure Kenny's really happy about that.
Well, we're going to be joined.
The goals that they stopped. You know, how many, what the record is. Yep.
Yeah. Well, we're going to be joined by Kenny Thompson, the head coach of North Village. Kenny, first of all, congratulations picking up your second trophy of the season. Earlier, I was Punch and I was talking, and I was mentioning that some years ago when North Village was struggling, they had what I would consider and what we back in the day would call a stand-in goalkeeper. You know, you had guys filling in. Once Taj came, I saw you know, the confidence went through the roof. You end up winning the league. You done well. Now that you have D-Trade, do you think that's kind of completed to help you to be where you are today?
Yeah, I think it's always important to have a goalkeeper that has the experience, obviously technical and tactical, but somebody with experience and who is also a leader and really confident. And so, yeah, I mean, any team I think that doesn't have the goalkeeper that has the leadership and the skill set is always vulnerable to errors. I mean, not to point out an individual keeper, but a keeper that we had at North Village last year, that the last few years, the young goalkeeper, he's with Paget. And unfortunately, last week, fortunately for us, but unfortunately for him and Paget, that his errors led us back into the game and then allowed us to take the lead. He's still a young goalkeeper, and I you know, at the end of the game, I went over and told him to, you know, just to keep his head up, not to allow these errors to destroy his confidence. He's still very young, so those errors are going to be, you know, they're going to happen. But to your point, this is the difference between having an experienced goalkeeper and a young goalkeeper. D-Trey has probably been through those errors before. And so now having that experience, then he makes less mistakes, and it's good for a team to have a sound goalkeeper.
Sure.
Kenny, one next question, like, yeah, Kenny, I was discussing the fact that you had to make so many changes with players away, players injured, and it wasn't one of the best performances. But I thought I just saw the team dig in a lot. Defensively, the work rate was tremendous, and the organization was good. Hello, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was. You know, we were missing a lot of players, important players that are abroad. We also had some players last night who were on the bench, but we couldn't touch because of their injuries. So we were very, very low in the amount of players that we could call on, and we knew that the starting 11 for the most part had to be prepared to go the 90 minutes. And so I think what's happening now is that it's speaking a little bit to the a little bit more of the depth that we've had in recent years. Last year, for example, we had no depth off of the bench. So it was very difficult to change games, and even to drive and motivate those players that were a part of the starting 11, because they knew that, you know, every week they're going to play in terms of the quality or lack of quality that we had as a squad. So this season we have a little bit more depth, and we have purposely rotated because we knew this was coming up. We knew that players were going to be abroad should we make the final. We didn't account for injuries, but in the preceding weeks, we've rotated the team just so that almost every player can grow with the team and perform if called upon. So last night, yeah, it was a performance of more grinding out the result than any sense of spectacular football. But we're prepared for that. We prefer to play a better game overall. But in those moments when you can't play that type of football, you have to be prepared to grind it out. And football is complex. You can play brilliantly and lose, and sometimes you can play awful and win. And so we have to find the balance between when we can play artistic football, then we enjoy ourselves and we hope that, and when we have to grind it out to get the result, then we're prepared to grind it out. And so that's what we saw last night.
Well, let me ask you, Kenny, what would you consider to be the most beneficial to your success thus far in the season? What has contributed to
it? Players are actually coming training. I'm laughing now, but it's a frustration, and the team knew the frustration from last and really the last few years, that the training, the attendance at training has been way too inconsistent, and so it's difficult to build performances. So we have to depend on, in those instances, you have to depend on that. You hope that the individual players just gel on the day. And I don't like to go into anything like that. So it's been very frustrating in the last two seasons, especially. This season, and believe it or not, we were leading the league last year this time as well, but we were not training, and it's a thing where it was only going to be a matter of time before that sort of thing caught up to us, in terms of not getting the consistency in performance. So this year I can attribute our performances so far to the fact that the players are attending training sessions on a regular basis. We are able to build performance specifically week to week, and add components to each game, and that in addition to the camaraderie. One thing about at North Village, the player camaraderie is really high. The players get along with each other. They're mates off the field as well. Players come in, they integrate into the group quite easily. It's an easy group to integrate into because everybody gets along. So, those things that we have, in addition to that, so far this season, that we've put, consistent work, and for us to continue to be challenging for titles, then we're going to have to continue. We've won the Charity Cup. Last night we won the Dudley Eve. With every win and every championship, we create a new challenge for ourselves. It's going to get more and more difficult because obviously, we're now the team to beat at this time, and so every time we win, we just create a new problem for ourselves. And so the continued preparation is going to be important to to kind of be able to stand up to the challenges that we face every week. So in short, yeah, it's just that, you know.
Kenny, I want to ask you a couple.
We're going to take a quick commercial break. Punchy, keep that question in mind, and when we come back, you can jump right into it. We'll be right back.
Putting down the weapons.
You seeing this? John Barrett & Son is bringing us something fresh and exciting for the new year. Buy Antioxidant Infusion Beverage. Buy delivers the natural antioxidant benefits of the coffee fruit in glorious combination with a variety of exotic fruit flavors, with only 1 gram of sugar and 10 calories per bottle. The folks at Buy are inviting us on a world tour through these amazing flavors. Brasilia blueberry, Zambia Bing cherry, Costa Rica clementine, Malawi mango, Panama peach, Ipanema pomegranate, Kupang strawberry kiwi, and more. Lindo's. Why go anyplace else?
I'm also thankful and grateful because my greatest value of my life is my legacy.
But why I do it? I feel supposed to do it. I was put here to be here, to do what I'm doing right now. Once I see somebody moving, it's the greatest joy for me. There's a little person being born.
I am thankful that people have given me the trust, for me to empower them, from my players to my family to friends, and that's what I'm thankful for. I'm thankful that people have allowed me and trusted me to be in their life.
And welcome back. Good, Punchy.
Yeah, Earl. I also before you go, Punchy, I just wanted to. It would be remiss of me to not to mention when we talk about the keys to our success, that there's a total team effort going on at North Village. It's always been that way, and this year it's no different. Even stepped up a little bit. So everybody from the assistant coaches, Devray and Jamiko, to the team manager and the physio, to the media people, and the board in general, that there's a real team behind the team that we see on the field that's also contributing to the success.
Kenny, what I want to ask you is about how coaching that everyone's talking about this young player, and how do you keep him grounded? Because he's playing a lot of games. He's like, he's like look like a jam. I'm sure just like you, when I was watching you and you was coming along at that age, what is it about him that that keeps him? I'm sure you keep him well grounded. Because everybody's talking about it. What is it that you see in him, and this young man, Mr. Swan?
Yeah, Dan. What's that?
And how you coaching him, and just get the best out of him. Because even I'm gonna add to this. Like last night, his work rate was tremendously defensively. And how have you transformed him? Because I asked him about him when he came back, when he was when he went back to Somerset. I see a total different person. What is it that you have done? What have you saying to a person like that to get him to that level? Because he just looks at another level right now.
No, but first of all, Dan's game has been on this level since he was very, very young. His father game and so on, was a really technical and tactical player as well. And so obviously, you know, Dejan is following in that path. So for Dejan at 16 to be doing the things he's doing is really remarkable, because he definitely shows a real maturity beyond the 16 years. Also keeping in mind that at 16 years now and 17 years old, we see some really top international players. So young people are doing big things at younger and younger ages than before. You know, sometimes you might have seen someone at 20 and we were saying, wow, this 20-year-old is playing with such maturity. But now 16-year-olds and 17-year-olds are making a mark with Barcelona's Spanish national team, the French national team, and so on. So he is, in a way, in Bermuda, that type of player at 16 to be making a real impact. He's a humble individual, real good spirit. So I think, you know, it's not even a case of us having to keep him grounded. I think that he's naturally that way. So we don't have to do anything to kind of you know, keep his feet on the ground. All we're concentrating on right now is allowing him to express himself, and at the same time, you know, I'm demanding, even at 16, that okay, if you're 16 and you're in the first team, then I demand first team type performances. So on that side, we're demanding that he plays at a high level. On the other side, that he still has a lot of experiences that he's going to come up against going forward. He still has a lot to find out about this game. But at the moment, you know, he's just showing a real football maturity. And last night, actually, you speak about last night with his defensive quality, because last night was probably his worst performance in possession for us this season. But the mature, humble type of person that he is, his work rate went up even more defensively. And maybe that was him realizing that he was struggling in possession of the ball, and we were struggling as a team. And so he had to do something else on the other side of the game to make that impact. And that's a sign of a real mature leadership type of player, because it could have easily, you know, at 16, he could have easily been disappointed with his performance with the ball and just stayed away from the game altogether, you know. So he has a bright future. He's still young. We're still, you know, realize that you know, there are going to be some ups and downs in his career, but I think that he's definitely one for the future for us and for Bermuda as well. On the other side, we have a Dio in the same type of boat, that really strong performances this season. A little bit older than Dejan, but you know, young, nonetheless, in senior football, and you know, they are really important players for us. You know, so when Dejan doesn't play, maybe our level is down a little bit. When Dio doesn't play, our level is down a little bit. If both don't play, then our level drops even more. So, you know, that's how important they are to us. And you know, we're demanding that those type of performances continue. But like I said, at the same time, understanding that they're young and you know, they're going to go through some periods probably when we have to be a little bit sympathetic and have some empathy for them as they work through some difficult periods.
Yeah. Take us through your experience, Kenny. I mean, you've been around the game, involved in the game for so many years. So talk about a little bit about after success, because we've seen teams who have been very successful one year and then look like everything's brand new the second year. So what do you attribute that to?
Yeah, I mean, this is not just an amateur sport, but it's in professional sport as well. That sometimes the things that you're prepared to do to fight to get to the top, once you get to the top, then that extra little bit of fight, um, leaves you a little bit sometimes, and that's why when we see some teams that are considered dynasties to do it year after year after year, then those are special situations. Um, so, speaking in the context of this season, that we've won 2 trophies, but I keep reminding everybody that daylight saving time just started, or just ended, really, and the rest of the prizes are gonna be handed out, as daylight saving time approaches again. And so it's a long way away, and we just have to have the mindset. We've just created more problems for ourselves, and with these additional problems, we have to be prepared to work even harder than what we've done to get to this point. And so now is about the drive. How badly do we want to win the next trophy, and so on, and continue. And so, that's the challenge now. That's added to the every day, every week challenge of preparing the team for week to week games. And now it's about the mental drive to stay there and to win some more.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad you. Yeah, I want to ask one more question, Kenny. I'm glad you brought the thing about how now that it's being talked about in circles about you got you got 3 trophies. I think you got the FA Cup. So you could probably looking at history making. You got 3. You got the league to go after. You got the FA Cup, and I think there's another cup, the Friendship. Am I correct? Right. Yeah. How do you keep your players running? You're 6 points ahead already in the league, and I know it's still early. But you've really beaten probably teams that look to be measuring up to you. How do you look at every game now? I'm sure you're not probably telling your players not to get ahead of themselves. So how do you keep those players grounded, your team? Because everybody's talking about 5 trophies. So I mean, I'm only saying, but how do you keep them focused like that? How do you keep them focused? What is the say the training that makes them stay focused for the next game?
Yeah, I mean, the talk of 5 trophies, the Triple Crown. I think that's everybody's goal at the start of the season. It's just that at this moment, then I mean, everybody else still has the chance to win the treble, because that's still on for everybody. No one else has the chance to win 5 but us, because we've won the 2. And at the moment, I'm not looking at those phrases or those words as dirty words. If you want to talk about the trouble, then let's talk about the trouble. Let's go for it. If you want to talk about 5 trophies, then let's talk about it. Let's go for it. I don't feel the need to hide any ambition. That secretly we want to go for 5, but we can't say it. We play to win every game, and we remind ourselves of that every single week. And so it's still on. It would be, I think it would be historic. I think North Village have held 5 before at the same time, but I think when they got the 5, it was the Charity Cup of the following season. So it wasn't all 5 in one season, although they held 5 at the same time, I do believe. So again, it comes down to, in this case, how much do players want to want to win every week and want to win trophies, and in this case, trying to do something special. I have talked to the players recently about me being in a team at Somerset that went through the entire season undefeated. We had some draws, but we went through the season undefeated. And that was a team that went 3 seasons undefeated, believe it or not. The first season they did it, I wasn't in the team at the time. The second year I was there. The third year I was away in school. But Somerset, as a club, went 3 seasons undefeated in the league. When you can say that, when you can look back on that, it's like, wow, what an accomplishment. And so these players, how much do they want to be able to look back with a wow factor of, we won this many trophies in the season, or we went, the league undefeated, or whatever it is. And as athletes, I'm not just talking about village, but I'm talking about as athletes, we have to be driven to win. But more importantly, we have to be driven to prepare to win. And so that's what is being hammered home now is let's go for it. But understand the sacrifice and commitment that's going to come with it.
Yeah. Well, I want to congratulate you, Kenny, and your team and your club, on the early season success that you guys have had. May it long continue. And hopefully the guys remember that nothing's finished until the end of the season. So the commitment to training is the most important thing. And I know, talking to different coaches around the league, that's one of the most frustrating things, because you as a coach, you plan to have certain things take place on a training night, and then you get to training and it's you and a handful of people that probably are not even going to be in a situation where that's the drill is going to really, necessary for them to be a part of. So I know your frustration, boys, and it's only going to get colder.
For sure. I can tell you that maybe 2 seasons ago in January, I planned a training session, and I've yet to use it because I took that training session to every session, and every session we didn't have enough players to really, go through that session. So yeah, it's frustrating for us as coaches, and especially when we put time in to prepare. But like I said, that's the past. Right now, the guys are working hard, they're motivated, they're having fun. And I'm, like I said, I'm about the work ethic. I'm about having fun with the process. If I use a comparison of my running days, I miss the running. I miss running May 24th. I miss running the 10Ks and things like that. But what I miss most of all are those training runs. So it's a process for me that's really enjoyable. Let's continue to work hard and then let the prizes fall where they may.
Sure. And before I let you go, last question: how is it working out? That this dual role for you, assisting with the national program and North Village. I know I asked you that. How did you plan it? How did you see it working out? But now that you've been involved for a few months now, how is it working out?
Yeah, it's going really well. It's testing my time skills. I'm actually now just arrived a few hours ago in the hotel, because we're starting the camp today for this international window. And I said to the president last night that last night we're winning a trophy, and then I have to be ready. In 24 hours, I have to be ready for to work with the national team. For me, it's challenging, time challenging. In addition to the trainings that I do in the gym, but all of it is what I like to do. In fact, all of it is what I love to do. I think I would be speaking to somebody's union if I was working these hours with things that I don't like. But with this, it's easy, and I use that word, loosely. It's easy because everything is what I absolutely love to do. So as time challenging as it is, running from one thing to the next, and preparing, for training sessions for the club and country and everything that comes with it, then I'm enjoying it. The national team is really going well at the moment with the players that we've brought in the 3 windows, this being the third, with the coach Michael and the assistant coaches, with John Newsom and John Morea, the goalkeeper coach, and all of the administrators and the physios and everything like that. That it's really it's a really pleasurable workplace, and again, it just comes down to that term I used before, work ethic. Everybody's working really hard, and so that's what makes it really enjoyable for me. Yes, it's a challenge, but I'm enjoying it.
All right. Well, get to work with that national program. We'll see you on Friday at the National Sports Center.
Okay.
All right. We're going to take another commercial break. When we come back, we'll talk.
All right.
Matches.
I'm also thankful and grateful because my greatest value of my life is my legacy.
But why I do it? I feel supposed to do it. I was put here to be here, to do what I'm doing right now. Once I see somebody moving, it's the greatest joy for me. There's a little person being born.
I am thankful that people have given me the trust, for me to empower them, from my players to my family to friends, and that's what I'm thankful for. I'm thankful that people have allowed me and trusted me to be in their life.
Putting down the weapons.
You seeing this?
Here's one of our favorite feature brands, true veterans of the food awareness movement. Bob's Red Mill, the U.S. leading miller of organic whole grain foods. Only whole grains have the entire value developed during growth. And once you try them, you know that this is the way food was intended to be. Try Bob's Red Mill blanched almond, whole wheat pastry, and artisan bread flours, and 1-to-1 gluten-free baking flour, unsweetened shredded coconut, gluten-free homemade wonderful bread mix, and a variety of rolled oats. Lindo's. Why go anyplace else?
And welcome back. Well, Punchy, earlier today out at the BAA field, Dandytown Hornets defeated St. George's Colts 5-0. That match, they had Jazade Samuel score a hat trick, and Tamika Goda scored twice. Jazade got a hat trick in the first half, but it saw Dandytown leapfrog St. George's and get up to 9 points. They're on 9 points along with the Devonshire Cougars and PHC Zebras. St. George's on 8. Score line, I must say, the score line did surprise me because of the way that Dandytown have been playing of late. But to turn around and score 5 goals against St. George's, every time I see Dandytown picking up a win, I say it's got to be that confidence booster for them. Just getting over the line for that.
Yeah, I went to the game, and I saw both sides of the coin really today. I still think Dandytown I'm not convinced that Dandytown is I think that will boost the morale for sure. But I still think they're an Asian team. They are beatable. But what was so surprising is what's happening at St. George's and what I saw at St. George's. I'm gonna talk about St. George's now. I don't think the coaching staff have come up with a concept in terms of what they want to do with the loss of players. They got Jonte, and you got the other whole board is missing. There's a few of the good players that are missing. And what I missed today is that a lack of discipline in terms of defensive discipline. Really bad at times, and I was like, whoa, this doesn't look like the St. George's of last year. And it's up to I think the coaching staff has to take a look at themselves and say, well, what are we going to do now? We don't have this player, we don't have that player. Let's see what another a concept to come up with. And at times, I think it could have been 5, it could have been 6, it could have been 6 or 7. They're still looking to play this type of football, this very constructive football passing game. But defensively, when the rotation in terms of when they lose the ball, they're poor. They're poor. The goalkeeper made quite a few mistakes today, But I always say, if you set up defensively well, then if you're gonna make it difficult for the team even to get a look at your goal.
Right.
But I think St. George's were just not really good at all. And on that performance, what I saw, I don't know where they're going. I can't see it. I mean, Jerome and his coaching staff has got to take a real look at what is the next step for them. What is the next step for them? That's what I saw today. Well,
we're joined by Coach Keita. I know I saw the eyebrows raise up when she saw that 5-0 Dandytown Hornets. Throw these picks way out the door. Take them out to North Rock and leave them.
Yeah, I'm grabbing the white flag. It's done. I'm done. Take me out. I'm not playing no more. Taking my football and I'm going. You guys figure it out. Well, of course, Magic Man was on the side today. He wasn't on the bench, so I don't know how much influence he would have had from the sidelines. But 5-0 is a big number. That's not Dandytown just beating, right? Just winning. So it will be a confidence booster for Dandytown, but then they're up and down. Next week they'll play somebody who I think we all picked St. George's, didn't we?
Yes.
We all picked exactly, right? So it's like you just don't know. Right now, I feel like North Village is probably the only consistent team. Where we've won when picking North Village. So St. George's will have to go back to the drawing board this week. Last week they drew with Social Club, right?
Yes.
So a draw with Social Club, a heavy loss to Dandytown. That's gonna hurt the morale of the team at this moment, because now it becomes this person didn't do this, why you didn't do this, why you didn't do that. And then I always go back to it. The next training session has to be a meeting. The next training session cannot be on the field, because players are going to be looking to fix what went wrong. And it's only going to heighten the level of emotions. And this is what happened Sunday. This is what, you know what I mean? So it's have a meeting and be open to hear coaches as well. Be open to hear what the players, because ultimately they're the ones who was on the field, right? So they would know what they were going through. They would know what they saw. They would know what wasn't working. And I wasn't there. So if coach didn't make the right subs, didn't have the right positions, like there has to be more than just the football inside. Yes, they are missing quality. And that quality carried St. George's last year. We can try to deny it, but it's showing. And we're not in Bermuda. You need to have that quality in your team in order to perform. So, yeah, I mean, maybe last year relying on them a bit much has cost them this season. You never know when an injury can strike, right? And so, yeah, it's back to the drawing board for St. George's right now, because, they were fighting for title last season. They were in contention, and now it's St. George's. You know what I mean? I feel like it's back to how we used to think of St. George's.
Well, up at Somerset, I'm sorry, Punchy, hold on.
just add into that before we go into the other. It's just like when I look at the back four, there's so many young players. Whereas if you flip the coin with North Village, you got a seniority there. There is seniority there. There's very good organization. And in St. George's today, I was looking at the younger players, and you're asking these younger players who are stepping in for the and you're definitely going to miss the Signal brothers. The seniority that matters in certain parts of the field. And Terrell was playing today too. Terrell was playing. He played, but I think Terrell was not, is working and it's not always playing. But what I witnessed today was that at the back, they were very bad, very poor. And, the heads dropped off after Jericho. You can see the body language of the players. So, again, we're going to have to see what the coaching staff is going to do about that to fix that.
Yeah. Well, we talked about this other match in the Premier Division that took place today, and we figured it was going to be a close encounter. In fact, the Paget Lions were able to pull off a 2-1 victory over the Somerset Trojans. We've talked about Somerset playing at home, defending up there, doing everything they need to do to try and get out of that relegation zone. And of course, Paget has had a dream start to the season. The only blemish is that big loss last week to North Village Rams, and I'm only talking about in the league. Their dream start continues with yet another win. Coach?
Yeah, Paget would have again been inspired by, even though they lost 5-2 to North Village, their performance probably wasn't that bad, right? So they would have looked at what they done last week against North Village and taken that into the Somerset match. I think they would have gone into the Somerset match feeling that they were going to win it because of the start that they've had to the season, right? So at the end of the day, I'm not surprised by that, and I'm sure I picked Paget to win it. I think that since Somerset's finding their feet, and I think that they would have definitely given Paget a bit more of a run. So the scoreline doesn't even surprise me, because I think Somerset is finding more confidence in themselves. That 3-1 victory over Daniton last week would have helped them today. So, that result doesn't surprise me at all.
And Punchy, looking at a team like Somerset, we've seen them, just 1 week they're doing well. Next week they're struggling. 1 win, 2 draws, now 3 defeats. Still a young team, but only on 5 points. Still got a lot of work to do.
Oh yeah, very much so. When you got these young players and they got these, like the game against North Village up there that night, I think it was the semifinal to get into the the league final, right? They were in it. They were in that game for a little while. They were in that game quite a bit. But then it's still that what you got is so many young players. What do they do? Who kind of like nurtures them in times and moments in the game where you just need to send somebody to calm them down, say, listen, let's dig in the organization. And you're not getting that at Somerset. You're getting when you have a whole group of young players being pushed, into the first team. It's still a learning curve for them. And I think that's what's happening in Somerset. Some good young footballers up there. Right. Good young footballers, yeah. In terms of how the season's going to go, that's going to be interesting because away from home, I don't see them picking up much points away from home. Now, they lost that game today, which was paramount for at least to get a draw. But I think that's where they're going to suffer from going away from home. And I think, would we say the candidates will be demoted to be dropped? They could be. If but I do glory in the fact that they've got such a young squad, a talented squad. I just hope they turn it around, they find a way to get, when they lose to teams like Paget and home, which they should draw or probably get the odd goal. I was thinking that's what Somerset's got to be looking at,
Yeah. Let's quickly turn our attention to the first division because there was a match on Thursday night where Robin Hood defeated Vasco. And Punchy, I want to start with you and I want to talk about Vasco first, only because they came out of the blocks. They were looking so good. And, you know, a week ago they lost 9-0 to Devonshire Colts, and then turn around and lose 3-0 to Robin Hood. That's 180 minutes. You've given up 12 goals, and you have yet to score. It's got to be a concern for the coaching staff.
Yeah, definitely. They just, you know, that program is restarted. They're coming back on board. That's going to take some time. I mean, they need players. I haven't seen them play. I don't know what the team is built on, the younger players, who they're using, or players that came from other teams that they're trying to bring in. But that's, you know, Vasco's, again, it's going to be a time for them where they're going to have to be thinking about, okay, let's just not lose. Well, we know we're not going to get promoted. But let's not look. We're starting something here. It's going to take a couple of years to rebuild this whole program again, and start from there. That's what I believe. I think the junior program is picking up also, so they have something to fall back on. You know, Vasco has history in Bermuda, and so I'm hoping that they remain. They don't just drop out again, and it's going to take time for them.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah. Coach. Looking at a team like Robin Hood, you know, they had that one blimp, but to come out, get the business done against Vasco. Obviously, they're looking ahead to tomorrow's fixture with Devonshire Colts top of the table clash. You know, it's a different look, Robin Hood team now with so many new players going to transfer to them. Just settling in for them, getting to know each other. I think that's going to be the key for them early in the season.
Yeah, and remember too, right? Robin Hood were Warriors last season in the Premier Division. Like they fought to the end. They literally fought to the end. So now they're at their ceiling. This is their ceiling. This is where they're going to thrive. So they would have used their experiences from last season to thrive, to go into these matches. So that little blip in the beginning was like, oh, okay, hang on a second. Yes, we are playing football again. So now they have found that they have the winning bit in their mouths. And so now it's just going, and they're taking every game as it comes. And they're doing what they have to do to get across the line. So, you know, whilst I understand what Leo is also trying to do at Vasco, they are rebuilding. So again, another result that didn't surprise me. Because I expect Robin Hood to be in contention, but they just happen to be victims of their insuccess where they get back up to the Premier, and then there's players that was working hard and getting them up to the Premier, they even go to school. You know what I mean? So, you know, for Robin Hood, it's a matter of sustainability than anything. Like they have to sustain what they have, but their process may be staying in the first division because that's the level of players that they're able to keep because they're younger, as opposed to heading up to the Premier Division where they lose those players and then they have these other players that can only function in the first division.
And then the final first division match of the weekend saw Wolves travel to Somerset Cricket Club and draw a 2-2 with Somerset Eagles, a very inconsistent Somerset Eagles team and a very, very inconsistent Wolves team, because when we started looking at Wolves and they started, how they finished last season, we had high expectations for them. And then, you know, they come out, they win a big game, and now they look like they're struggling. I don't know. The results show that they're struggling in many ways. What do you think, Coach?
Yeah, that result there is definitely one that makes me want to quit. I was 150. I would have put my paycheck on the fact that Wolves was going to thrash Somerset Eagles, right? But Jomar's doing something, huh? He's got those guys at least trying to compete now. You know, before they were not competing, they're actually trying to compete, and that's a big result for Somerset Eagles, right? Wolves will look back on this, and I just pray for Wolves' sake that they don't take a decline. Like, I really hope that they don't look and say, like, we really can't function like this. We're not good enough. I hope the training doesn't drop off. I hope the attitudes, you know what I mean? Because they have quality players there. And they would want to now just they have to figure it out. They're going to have to figure it out.
Yeah. And Punchy, Coach Keita makes a good assumption that you look at a team like Somerset Eagles and got Jomar there coaching.
But you know, Jomar's gonna bring organization. He's gonna bring harmony. He's gonna make sure that step by step, he will do things right in that division. My problem is that if he is, what's he looking for to do? Because definitely, if he's going to be looking for promotion, he's going to need better players up there. Definitely. That's a new thing for Jomar. I mean, let's think about look at Jomar's career, coaching career. What he done with Deniton, and then he left. He went to Southampton Rangers, then he went to Boulevard. Now he's up at Somerset Eagles. I would thought he would took on a bigger project, maybe a team like Wolves, or maybe even Crossroads. Gumbo is struggling a bit, but of course, I think the Somerset Eagles going to be okay. I think they're going to be just enough. They're not going to get promoted. I don't think so. Nope, I don't think at all. He's got a lot of work. That's a work in progress for Jomar, for sure. And I think he's probably happy at that. I think he's happy where he is.
Yeah. Well, we're going to take our final commercial break, and when we come back, we'll look at our picks from this week, and we'll talk about next week. We'll be right back.
It seems everyone knows someone who's lactose intolerant or just avoiding dairy products. And fortunately, there's a growing array of delicious and nutritious alternatives. Pacific Natural Foods have been doing things their own way simply and sustainably for over a quarter century, making non-dairy beverages with the finest possible ingredients right down to the packaging. Try Pacific Natural Original and Vanilla Hemp Milk and Almond Original Plant-Based Beverage, all sweetened or unsweetened, and low-sodium organic vegetable or chicken broth. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
I'm also thankful and grateful because my greatest value of my life is my legacy.
But why I do it? I feel supposed to do it. I was put here to be here, to do what I'm doing right now. Once I see somebody moving, it's the greatest joy for me. There's a little person being born.
I am thankful that people have given me the trust, for me to empower them, from my players to my family to friends, and that's what I'm thankful for.
Putting down the weapons.
You seen this?
And welcome back. Well, let's go to those picks. Coach Keita, listen, I'm sorry.
Don't even take. Just do you and Uncle Punches. Don't worry about me.
You didn't take that. All right.
Yeah, I'm not in the game.
All right. So we know that North Village defeated Devonshire Cougars in the Dudley final 1-0. We all took North Village Rams. The match between Crossroads and Hamilton Parish will be played tomorrow. The Somerset Paget match. I took a draw. Punchy took Paget. Coach, you took Somerset. And of course, Punchy would have won that, winning 2-1. We all took, oh no, hold on. Dandytown versus St. George's. Coach, you and I took St. George's. Punchy took Dandytown. Then in the first division, we all took Rockwood to defeat Vasco. They did so 3-0. We all took Wolves to beat Somerset Eagles. We know that ended in a 2-2 draw. The Robin Hood Devonshire Colts match and St. David's and Boulevard will be played tomorrow, so we'll know what other points we have coming our way, if any at all, Coach. Because we're struggling.
Yeah, I'm out. I got 1 point. I got two. Robin Hood and North Village.
We got two. We got two. Robin Hood, North Village. Yeah, Robin Hood, North Village. 2 points. So yeah, 2 there, 2 for you, and 4 for Punchy. So Punchy's extended his lead right now. He's on 29. I'm on 26, and Coach on 25. We will be live from the Philadelphia Southfield Stadium on Friday around 5:30 in a preview match and a preview show before the men's team take on St. Vincent, and then a post-match show as well. That's on Friday at the National Sports Center. We'll be there. Hopefully the weather's good for us and the team plays well as well, because
Yes.
we're looking forward.
And come out, Bermuda, please. I want the stadium to be full. Men need that 12th player, especially. I still feel that the men are gonna win the group, because I know they're gonna win the last 2 matches. But let's come out and show the men some support as they go into this final window.
Yeah, definitely. Well, folks, we'll see you Friday night or Friday evening. Be in person at the stadium. You can watch the show from the stands. Have a good night.
Good night.
Good night, y'all.